Say that the greatest invasion in history, the third world, et cetera, talking about the invasion at our borders, and I agree with you.
We are in a war with Mexico right now. They're the only ones fighting it, of course.
I think it is almost inevitable. If we do not put a fence on that border,
I agree with
you're going to have 100 million Hispanics in the country, most of them new immigrants from Mexico, which believes that belongs to them.
Resentment toward immigrants held by native-born Americans is a problem that directly affects the public policy in America. Samuel Huntington, author of Who Are We? The Challenges to America's National Identity, wrote that immigration without assimilation generates countervailing pressures and usually cannot be sustained indefinitely. The lack of integration is creating resentment that is fueling the fire to focus on border security and enforcement rather than focus on solutions, similar to the situation seen in the town of Farmville.
They do not have the right to work here. They do not have the right to live here. They do not have the right to destroy my community and my home and my rights.
Ya todo tiempo nos van a tratar como unos perros a nosotros. Yo digo que tenemos el mismo derecho que ellos.
Billions of dollars have been put into border security. But the Wall Street Journal reports that the problem of undocumented immigrants is likely to come back unless we find better ways to legally accommodate new immigrants. The problem with trying to use border security is that this doesn't produce the desired effect. According to Wayne Cornelius and Takayuki Tsuda in Controlling Immigration, A Global Perspective, highly motivated migrants driven by powerful economic incentives had found ways to circumvent tougher borders. The final principal effects of a massive buildup in border enforcement have increased the financial cost and physical risk of illegal entry, and induced more unauthorized migrants to extend their stays or settle permanently in the United States because of the increased difficulty of re-entry. Despite policy focusing on border security, immigrants still want to enter America.
So we do not want immigrants doing this labor, and I agree with Congressman King, we must secure our borders. Of course, I'm sure Arturo Rodriguez is saying, who then would pick our crop, Stephen? First of all, Arturo, don't interrupt me when I'm talking, that's rude.
This resentment causes a systemic problem of preventing immigrant integration into American life. There are problems of integration for both immigrants attempting to gain U.S. citizenship and integration for illegal immigration. According to the Migration Information Source, non-citizens must qualify for a family or employment-based visa, be a refugee or asylee, or be selected in the diversity visa lottery in order to become immigrants. The number of applicants, however, is limited in statute by numerical ceilings and per-country limits, and no more than 7% of immigrant visas can be issued to nationals of a single country. Because of this high volume, it can take years for entry, and it delays family reunification. Furthermore, it is difficult to naturalize because of inadequate language skills needed to pass the citizenship exam. Fear of the exam, an expensive filing fee of $680, and a lack of knowledge about the naturalization process. As for illegal immigrants, the United States does not have a federally driven immigration integration policy or an agency responsible for making sure immigrants effectively become part of U.S. society. Carol Swain, author of Debating Immigration, cites the 2011 Rasmussen poll that found that 67% of Americans, given a choice between the passage of new immigration laws and enforcement, preferred the enforcement of existing laws.
That we should want newcomers to the United States to have a good shot at becoming successful Americans who can support themselves rather than rely on taxpayers, who can and do fully participate in local, state, and national political deliberations, fully participate in our culture, and who see themselves and are seen by others as Americans.
It is easy to say that a minority doesn't belong, that they are bad for society, and to focus on enforcement, but that clearly isn't stopping immigration. Reform needs to be focused around immigrant integration.